Welcome to the Rise Up Podcast, the show where we share the Thunderbird's eye view of our Yucaipa High. Each week, we sit down with students, staff, or community members to highlight the stories and celebrate the achievements from across our community that make T-Bird Nation soar. Now, get ready to rise up. All right, welcome to Rise Up. We are here today with the Renaissance team. Why don't each of you go down the row and tell us who you are, what you do for Yucaipa High School?
I'm Dr. Barrickman, Assistant Principal here at YHS.
I'm Robert Guillen. I'm your guys' ASB Director. I've been here for 15 years now. Also the head track and field coach as well.
Hi, my name's Kevin Lewis, and I'm an Assistant Principal for 9th grade.
All right, so we're talking about Renaissance. So for a lot of our community, this is the first time they've ever heard about it. So what is it to you? How do you see it fitting in with our school, and what are your goals for the Renaissance rollout this year?
So to me, Renaissance is a framework for us to be able to build our school culture. And conversations that I've had with teachers and just people on campus, our school spirit could be better. And I think this is going to be a really good way for us to be able to strengthen our school spirit here on campus.
I think, Mr. Lewis, that kind of ties into the TFI walkthrough we had last year. What were some of the things that you were hearing from the students when they were interviewing them about their connectedness to the school?
Well, some of them thought it was more like a college campus where they come and go, and they weren't really tied into the school spirit. It was a job. It was something that they were supposed to be doing. I'm really excited because after the four of us had gone to a conference this year, it was fun, it was interactive, it was engaging. It's all the things that made school interesting and fun for me. I want to give that connectiveness to kids and families and so on. It should be a family here.
Yeah, Mr. Guillen, as the ASB director, we share the same goal and desire. We want every kid to feel loved. We want every kid to feel valued. We want them to feel cared for. So how does Renaissance support that mission from the lens of the Associated Student Body?
So one of the biggest things that we noticed, and whether or not this was an aspect of COVID or coming out of COVID, we're in year 5, we're moved away from what most students would classify as a pretty dark and gloomy time. And so getting kids to understand that it's okay to have school spirit, it's okay to be loud and proud, it's okay to be a part of the T-Bird Nation is something that I feel like we're trying to build back with. And part of that representation with the Renaissance is making sure that every student on campus, not just our athletes and our top 1% students are being not only seen, recognized, but also heard. And so with Renaissance, what that's going to allow us to do is to build in some additional representation for all of our kids here on campus. Our goal in student body is to get back to the kind of the pre-COVID years where students were not just here for their educational purposes, but were here because they wanted to be a part of the 40 clubs we have here on campus. They wanted to go to the various activities, whether it's dances, rallies, football games, basketball games, you name it. And I feel like Renaissance is going to give us that playbook, that outline to get our kids reconnected back with Yucaipa High School.
With the Renaissance program, we're talking about helping every one of our students feel seen and heard. And so we're bringing in some new recognitions, right? We're talking about growth awards. We're talking about gold, silver, bronze. What does that look like? What are some of the things that we have coming down the pipe for our kids?
So from an ASB standpoint, a lot of the rewards that our students are going to start seeing this year in terms of the gold, bronze, silver recognition are going to be various things from discounts to dances, discounts in the student store, various items that we'll be able to pass out during rallies. So a lot of kind of like the little perks that we look for in terms of, the things that cost money here at high school. This will help alleviate hopefully some of that financial burden from the parents as well. But from a student council perspective, we're looking at the representation from all 3 groups, including our 4th group, which is our improved group, which may not be in one of those 3 statuses, but are showing growth, which is a big thing we talked about at our conference that we went to, and figuring out ways to reward them. And again, not just reward the top 1% and the students that are always getting things. We still want to take care of them, but at the same time, we want to take care of our kids that are showing growth at our school as well.
So as Mr. Guillen was sharing, we feel like we've always done a good job at honoring our high academic achieving students. And now with the Thunderbolt academic recognitions, we can expand that out and we can honor students at varying levels. And we can also include attendance awards as well. Mr. Lewis, something that we brought in with our RISE program is character awards as well. So kids can earn a Thunderbolt recognition through a character award. Talk to us what that program looks like.
Yeah, we've done a great job of recognizing our highest achievers at school. And we've had some amazing achievers here at school, but they're not the only ones at school that are doing great things. Kids are doing great things by helping out, volunteering, just being good citizens, and doing what they need to do in the classroom. Some kids, school isn't their thing, but they are doing what they need to do to get through, to graduate, to be good citizens, and to be good friends to other people. We want this to be a safe place. We want this to be a home away from home. We want this to be a place where adults and students can coexist in a meaningful environment. And the character award is part of that. And so if you get a character award, that's just as important to me as any of those other major recognitions or CIF championships or anything. We want you to feel like you're at home. We want you to feel like you're safe. And we're making a much bigger attempt and effort to see every kid and hear every kid.
So Dr. Berkman, a big part of this program is increasing our student voice. Talk to us about different ways that students will be able to find their voice through this Renaissance program.
So one of the biggest ways is through the pulse survey that we're going to be doing in November. And, the adults can put together a program that we think works for our students, but we want to hear from the students and we want to know what works for them and what motivates them. So the pulse survey will be coming out. We're going to address all different things like building relationships and what kind of activities they like and, what recognition do they want. But we also hold student voice groups where students are able to come in and it's led by one of our students. And we just kind of hear what they have to say about the way our school is run. And student voice is extremely important to the way we run our school. And so I just would encourage all of our students to participate in those opportunities that are coming out.
So the Renaissance program is not just something that ASB does or not just something that Link Crew does. When we're talking about our culture, it's every kid on campus. It's every staff member. It's every family member that walks on our campus. They all develop the culture of our school. But we do have some additional leadership opportunities with the Renaissance program. All right. So, Mr. Gay, why don't you talk to us about some of the ways that ASB is preparing to support this Renaissance work and kind of lead that way?
Yeah, so for years, going back 15, 16 years ago, ASB has just been kind of the main component of the student voice, student-led activities. And so with Renaissance, we're adapting a new way of kind of fixing that process. And what I mean by that is we're opening up an additional section, third period this year, Renaissance/ASB. And, hopefully as we get a couple years into this playbook, we could expand even maybe further upon that and open up another section. But the reality is if you're a student on campus or you're a parent of a student who really wants an opportunity to figure out how to create that shift in culture to something that, obviously our kids want to be a part of, applying for that third period or get involved in that Renaissance class would be a way to do so. If that's also not your thing, like I mentioned earlier, we had roughly 40 clubs last year on campus, varying from the Latino Cultural Club all the way up to our Magic the Gathering Club, and if we don't have a club on campus that kind of, suits your fancy, then you can create one. We just need a teacher advisor. So that in connection with ASB, Link Crew, the various academies we have on campus, and then now you just throw in Renaissance and that class that goes with it, and we have everything that we need to create the best cultural environment that we want here at Yucaipa High School.
So you mentioned the playbook a couple times now. Dr. Berkman, what is the playbook and how is that going to impact our school?
So our playbook is our overall plan for the whole school year. It includes our academic program, which talks about what promises we make for our students academically and for them to achieve, but it also addresses the cultural side of things. So it's a month-by-month plan of how we're going to work to build culture here at our school. It addresses 5 major components. I could give you a few of them off the top of my head.
Let's see what you got.
We want to do relationships with our students. Staffalty morale, which is our faculty and our classified staff. We want everybody to be included. Culture and climate, which is how we're changing the face of our school. Academic achievement is what we want our students to be able to do academically.
Faculty morale, character development.
Character development, that's right, which we're going to do through the Harbor and videos that are already made for our teachers to be able to show that will fit right in with PBIS and RISE in order to develop character within our students.
Already, the Renaissance program has completely reinvigorated everybody who's been working over the summer to invest in it and to create it and to bring it to life. I know I'm excited to come to work. I know you guys are excited to come to work. And I think that excitement is just going to be infectious, and it's going to be the year that we always wished we would have had, right? I think we are going to turn a corner this year, and Renaissance will be a big part of it, but it's also the people that we have leading it. So thank you guys so much for all the work you've already put in to make this dream come to life. And I know rolling forward, it's just going to be an amazing program for our campus. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing we learned at the conference was understanding that a lot of what we do already at Yucaipa High School, you could technically tie into Renaissance. But what we want is to expand on that. And so whether it's lunchtime activity games or it's, Spirit Weeks where we have dress-up competitions or any of the little things that we have planned that are coming out of the playbook, the biggest thing for students on campus is just to get involved. And that's the biggest thing in terms of not just Renaissance, but in general, the school is what you make of it, and you get out what you put in. And so if you're coming to school with a dreary attitude and low morale in terms of what your expectations are, then there's a good chance that that's what you're going to experience. But if you come in with this idea of getting involved, figuring out what it is that you want to do or what it is to be a T-Bird, I can promise you that your experience here in your 4 years, or, if you have 1 year left, if you're graduating senior this year, will be a very positive one. For me, what I tell my students all the time in ASB, and what I tell my kids that I work with around campus day in and day out is, we're lucky to be able to come to one town, high school. And so the ability to be able to go to a high school where there's a really good chance that not only your parents went here, but your grandparents went here as well, is not something that is very common anymore. You look at our surrounding districts, multiple high schools, in terms of culture and how long the schools have been opened up. There's not a lot of high schools in the Inland Empire that can say those kinds of things. So just get involved. That's the biggest thing. You're going to make your high school experience what you want. And what you want is to have, obviously, is a positive one. And so just listen, whether it's daily bulletin, social media, obviously the high school website, we do Parent Square as well. Those are all resources for you to figure out how you get involved. And when we have those kind of call to actions for Renaissance specific events, just be ready to participate. And I promise you'll get out a lot of good things.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one thing that was a takeaway for me from the conference that we went to is we're like right there.
We are.
And we found things that we can do to fill the missing piece, right? There were little pieces of everything that we do that Renaissance had some ideas that we can use to fill that void. But it's we are right on the cusp of having an amazing, of going from good to fantastic.
Yeah.
Right? Our school is a great school. We can take one step further if everybody just gets out of their comfort zone and goes for it and jumps in. So yeah, I'll never forget my story from the conference. I'll never forget on Superhero Day when Captain Underpants was running the halls with a giant foam hand trying to high-five everybody in the hallway. And I tried to duck him so hard because I was not going to high-five Captain Underpants at a Renaissance conference, and he wouldn't let me get away. And so when I finally gave in and I gave him the biggest high-five I had in me, I just couldn't stop smiling and laughing about it the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And that's the school that we want, is a school that you just can't stop smiling after you're here, right? And we ended up making it our theme for the whole year. High fives and vibes, right? That's our theme for this year. And we're going to be creating those moments for every single one of our kids.
What I'm excited about is some of the responsibility that's going on to the staffalty. To be honest with you, we talked about not only at this conference, but all the days of preparation throughout the summer, what are all the different ways we can get students involved to really get the vibes and the energy up here at Yucaipa High School. What I'm excited to see is that same challenge put on our staffalty, whether it's, our front office workers, our fantastic library technician, textbook workers, you name it, even our custodial crew would do a fantastic job with making sure our school looks, presentable every single day. But going on to our teachers, we have some underground theme days that are going to be happening throughout the year. I'm excited to see that particular part of this kind of Renaissance playbook and this call to action, which is, we have to lead by example as adults. And just like you talked about, Dan, just like you talked about, Kevin, we had to get out of our shells at this conference. As an adult, you're like, oh, these are things that I had to do this in high school.
Yeah.
And we have to lead by example. So as a faculty, as a staffalty, teachers, I'm really excited to see them kind of show who they are with the opportunities that they're going to receive from Renaissance.
Thank you guys again for leading that drive for our school. Thank you for taking the time to watch this episode of our Rise Up podcast. T-Bird Nation, no matter where you are in your journey, remember, the view gets better the higher you climb. Keep rising up, T-Birds.